So this kind of speaking to the microphone is not, I would say, at all. But also a lot of this is really fresh, and if you get bored of my rants on the microphone, you can look at my sexy undercover people behind me doing things as well. Yeah? So no one has to get bored. It's alright. And Wait. It's dark in here, but hands up who's heard of the Pitchford inquiry? Yeah? Everyone? Okay. Who's heard of the allegations that really began prior to 2010? Not the allegations, the exposure, the evidence that they were undercover cops and activist movements for a long time. Yeah, hands up who's heard about that? 2010, Mark Kennedy, Mark Stone. Yeah, Aye, it's pretty fucking disturbing, and people like Anne Lynch, you know, this kind of stuff's been going on for decades, but there hasn't been evidence of it until 2010. Hard evidence started coming out that the Met Police and other police bodies were sending in people undercover who looked like just like you and me, long hair, tattoos, whatever, and they were amongst our circles like 7-8 years. Some of them fathered children, they had tattoos, long hair, they had long relationships, and all of this just started to come out. And based on the scandal this was caused, rightfully, because all of them were men, all of them targeted women activists who were involved in social change, and they targeted them for long-term relationships to get credibility to infiltrate movements. And every one of the guys that we know so far that sent in was already married with kids, because that was quite serious. The sentence people went in was that they would have a wife and kids, and therefore wouldn't like go fully. So on every level, like the wife and kids, the woman that actually they target, like the really sexy yeah, well, aye. So amongst those come up, aye, they were in amongst movements, deeply undercover, living with people. They fathered children on occasion. For their fake names, they used the birth certificates of children, of dead children. All of this come up, and based on this scandal and all this coming out, there's a Pitchford inquiry. So the Pitchford inquiry is an inquiry that says it's going to actually prize open all these files and actually tell us who was undercover, who signed off on it, what their methods were, why, for how long. We can actually get clarity, like which one of our past lovers, which guys enjoyed the band, who was actually a fucking cop who was sent in to undermine our movements and sabotage things. So the Pitchford inquiry is underway. It's going to be fucking slow, because the police are obviously not cooperating with this fully. It's going to be slow, it's going to be a hard slog. But the Pitchford inquiry is only limited to England and Wales. So on the whole of the mainland, people in Scotland are the only people who are not going to get access to any degree of clarity, truth or justice. We're actually left out. It stops at the border. Scotland is not included. And across all the parties in Scotland, they wanted to be included in the Pitchford inquiry, and they're like, no you don't. Yeah. Which is, super interesting and hardcore. Aye. So essentially, we're watching all our peers, anyone who's involved in activism. Activism is actually too strong a word. So people involved in the construction industry, who are involved in trade unionism, involved in working for health and safety standards on construction sites, anti-racism, equality campaigning. Activism is too strong a word. Anyone involved essentially in trying to create a better society and standing up for our democratic rights was their game and has been targeted, and we know that there's evidence of it happening in England and in Scotland. We know it. And these two units, the NPIOU and the SDS, these two secret police units, they've been deployed since 1968. Yeah, we know they've been operating in Scotland as well as everywhere. And yeah, they're not. We're watching all our peers, our fellow campaigners, activists, pals in England and Wales have some recourse to justice. They're finding out what's going on. And this is supported by a Tory government. Tory government is enabling this. And in Scotland, we're getting like nothing. Yeah. And we know this is taking place in Scotland. So at the moment, the SNP has commissioned this absolute insult of an inquiry. It's not an inquiry, it's a review. So they've said, okay, we're going to look from the year 2000 up until date, from the year 2000 only. So they're admitting, de facto, they're admitting 2/3 of the abuses, because this began in 1968, we know that. And they're commissioning the police to make this review. It's not even an inquiry, it's a report commissioned by the police who are going to cover everything up and whitewash it, because there's a long history of this, obviously. Why would we trust the police to mark their own homework? Like, they've been infiltrating and abusing, why would they provide any kind of like clarity?
No, do you know who was behind all this, or who's funding it?
It's funny, and all of these like massive complex questions, which is what we're holding quite the inquiry. It's not just a case of like a few bad apples. This was systematic, sending men in on a salary for 7 years to like be in like your home, my home, as your like lover, know your family, be there at like your granny's funeral, be there at your graduation, like get fucking involved. You know, all of this is like, yeah, this is funded salaried people, it's tactics, it's strategy, it's institutionalized sexism.
Yeah, but the special branch, special select.
Wait, I'm gonna get obviously real mad. Aye, so Pitchford is not being included, it's not being sent to Scotland. In Scotland we have nothing but this like total sham review. And so for example, I got targeted by undercover police in 2009 because I was doing environmental activism, and they got me and like locked me in the cells for 3 days and took my keys to my house, and then they're like, Haswan, you want to copy in a business arrangement, an ongoing business arrangement where we'll give you money for information. This happened in 2009, and me and my pals at the time recorded all the conversations, and then it was published in The Guardian. And for once, it's quite rare to get these stories where like the police are the bad guys, and for fucking once we're actually like just who we are. Anyway, it's quite a straight up story, and because it's in the media, therefore suddenly it's true. So I'm one of the few cases in Scotland where there's like evidence which is respected, even though loads of people here have either direct experience or like strong suspicions, and know that there's so many campaigns here that have been targeted, whether it's like Independent, Glasgow, Torness, G8, oh my god, so much stuff's happened here. Yeah. And just like in England, there have been children who've been fathered by police officers who then like vanished and disappeared. Like how many kids in Scotland are like yet to discover that like their dads were also like that sort of salary who then vanished. And as it stands now, we're not ever going to find out because Pitchford isn't going to be extended to Scotland. So weirdly, there was a very, very small time lapse. There's a window of opportunity whereby the decision to not extend Pitchford to Scotland could be challenged. And we got my case in just like 24 hours before that window of opportunity shut. So this whole like hilarious joke in 2009 of like recording the cops and being like, it was actually like turned into a very, very serious thing, because this is now the only case is registered to do judicial review to get Pitchford extended to Scotland. And what it means, what does it mean? Let's see. Yeah, so I have direct evidence experience of being targeted by fuck knows who, but on Scottish soil. So we know these abuses have happened in Scotland. And for example, we know there's been between 150 and 200 officers deployed in total undercover. We have 18 of them that have been outed and exposed, and we're going to get all of them eventually, definitely. And we know that half of them regularly in Scotland. It's just a matter of time. The people working it are people like just like you, just like me. We're fucking smart and on it, like they're all gonna get found and exposed. Watch the media this weekend. It's due to come out. There's another one. And it's just a matter of countdown, and we're clocking the patterns faster and faster. Yeah, the police are and should be shitting their pants. So for example, when Mark Kennedy got exposed, based on that there was over 50 convictions. People got convicted for activism, and those convictions were cancelled, they were overturned. Yeah? And that's one officer, and we know there's between 150 and 200 who've been uncovered. So even on a very, very, very conservative estimate, you're looking at like hundreds and hundreds of convictions of people who just involved in like working for workers' rights, like women's rights, as related stuff, all sorts. And like essentially the shitstorm this could cause is huge. We're talking about watching, at least in England and Wales, the biggest exposure of miscarriages of justice. And it's already coming out, there's already 50 convictions.
Helen,
Aye.
when you met Mark Kennedy, please.
Hi. Yeah, I met Mark Kennedy, loads of people did. He was like people's lovers, he was people's pal. Yeah, I met him also, lots of people did. Yeah.
He used against racism demonstration.
Yeah.
He was infiltrating the military
Yeah.
at that time and the Labour Party was socialist. So he's in all that.
Yeah.
He's one of the top traitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, and this is why we need, so like all this information at the moment is irrelevant, it won't even be heard because Scotland is left out entirely of the Bishop inquiry. So yesterday, I know, it all started off as a joke, but it's happening, it's quite big, turns out. And so, yesterday, there were like 5 people who were core participants who mean they're like main players in the Pitch inquiry. It has more than 200 people, they came up from England, and we met Michael Matheson, who's the Minister of Justice here. And like, Matheson got spanked proper. Like, there's nothing else to say except for like, oh, I think the police will do a very good job of investigating the police. I just had to repeat it. And then like, we had 45 minutes allocated, and after 30 minutes he's like, I think you should leave now. Like, yeah, we should probably go. And it was amazing, and it was 2 people who it's established they've been spying on for a long time. Helen Steele, who's an amazing woman who like pulled McDonald's apart in the longest standing legal case in UK history, and then subsequently turned out that her partner for 2 years was an undercover cop. She was targeted, they lived together. They informed all her choices of where she lived and what she did, and now she's like, what the fuck is real and what isn't real? Hi. And then there was another woman who's from Paisley, whose sister was with an undercover cop and wanted to have kids and babies and be engaged, and was there at his funeral and everything. And she's like, why the fuck was my entire family infiltrated? What is going on? And these people never know anything as it stands because there's no inquiry in Scotland. Yeah, and Matheson looked at us and was like, well, I think I have great confidence that the police will do a very thorough and honest job researching what happened. Like, fast. You're talking to like 5 of us, you'd just be like, deceived and time. Anyway, all of that is weak, yeah. Total sham. And essentially there are no barriers to him commissioning a full inquiry now. There are no barriers. And what is also going to come out is a load, like the blacklisting that's been happening on construction sites, in particular in Scotland, over the decades. Like people's livelihoods, their work, their family lives, everything's been decimated and interfered in. And like we do have information on that, and we know that the blacklists were informed by police intelligence. Like we know it, there's no way that information could have got there otherwise. And all of this like has to come out. Like we have to have inquiry, people have to have clarity, and like those companies have to get sued to fuck, and there have to be safeguards in place so that this doesn't happen again. So that's mostly it. And that was just all fresh from yesterday. And one day, this is partly a call out because it'd be so good to like do do something mad good with some like music behind, actually do like proper spoken word. So if any of you are musicians who want to actually like try to do something, let's fucking do it. Let's have a massive rant about this. Yeah, there's probably loads more I've forgotten, but essentially people don't, it's not been in the public eye enough, and what could come up is like, I think we can sit here and watch the biggest exposure of miscarriages of justice and police spying tactics happen across the border, or we can kick up a massive stink and make sure we get the equality we deserve in Scotland.
Because we're raising funds for the case. I know, yeah.
Fuck aye. So essentially, Scottish Legal Aid Board turned it down. They didn't support the case. They're like, no, we'll not give you legal aid. What? And the case has merits, and like, there's a fucking amazing legal team behind it who are activist lawyers. It has merits. They're like, this is political. We don't want this to happen. And so, as they turned it down, we've been crowdfunding it, and it needs between 5 and 8k. To get it through the first part of court. We've already got nearly 6k. Like it's happening. Don't panic, it's happening. But anything you want to donate, do. But also like that money is going just for 2 days in court. It's going to the salaries of like men in white wigs. Saying things anyway. Sorry. So donate money, but also like buy each other drinks if you don't want.
If you enjoyed the music and everything tonight, then you know what you genuinely think is done. But I stick at the box. Otherwise, so I'm going to invite Bethany please to the stage. It's usually an amazing podcast called Velveteen Riot. So it's like an acoustic solo gig and I'm really pleased to have it.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?